Spooky. Funny, haha, no. Hi YouTube, my name is Tulmango. Welcome to my channel if you're new. If you're not, welcome back. I am speaking about being still and botched because I feel like the situation has gone on for far too long, and I just am trying to live my life in a way I feel like is real and natural to me. So I'm just going to be speaking about my experience at the university and where I'm at right now in my life. I recently turned 22. Time is moving. And yeah, this is literally not how I imagined my 20s to be. Or me turning 22. I feel like if I would have a conversation with my grade 8 self and tell him where I'm at right now in my life and everything that's gone on, I would not even believe myself. I would literally be laughing. But yeah, that's life. It just throws curveballs and you must just keep it moving. So I got cancelled in real life. That's how I want to start, or at least position this conversation I'm having. I got cancelled in real life, somewhat on the internet, but people didn't necessarily know. And I found people just spreading the most. It's crazy. Like, yo, it's so crazy and it sucks. And I feel like the one thing that hurts the most is being an optimist and being happy to live life and just try. Every day gives us the chance to try. And this is like a philosophy I've always had in my life, being an optimist. And I found myself overly optimistic because in my last year of uni, I found myself at the brink of dropping out. And I told myself, you know what? The way you've been navigating tertiary studies is not cute. You're not the person you used to be in high school. You're losing the plot. You've found devices to take away from yourself, take away from feeling. And yeah, I became a stoner in university. I was a party head and I didn't necessarily have the best balance. Also, just navigating university is not an easy feat. It's insane. Uni is an experience and it's not just getting studies. I wish this is something I could have told myself. University is not just getting your degree, it's everything. And the way time moves in uni is it moves quite quickly. And I knew I was somewhat heading towards the direction of dropping out. So I told myself, let me work to my strengths. Let me focus on leadership, try get as much experience as I can. And if I drop out, I drop out. So my last year of university, I entered the SRC. I had a ball. I had so much fun running a campaign. And yeah, I lost the election. But now the position is somewhat weird, or the situation rather is somewhat weird, because I was illegally allowed to run for SRC. I was not meant to run for SRC. So I entered the SRC race. And when I was allowed, I was like, interesting. Because I was like, I'm probably going to get rejected. Let me just apply and see if I get in. And I was allowed in and I was like, And yeah, I just went with the flow because I was like, okay, fine. I'll just continue running for SRC. I'll have a ball. And I planned my campaign, me and the rest of the candidates. I ran for SRC. And yeah, it exposed a lot, and getting the experience of hearing from your fellow peers the realities of being a student, the realities of living in South Africa, and for our international students, for the international students at the university, it's also interesting. It's just interesting and it's fun. And I am someone who like enjoyed doing the work. I somewhat like governance for some reason. I like being in service. And I am somewhat of a service orientated person. After SRC, I told myself, okay, fine, you lost the election. What else can you do? Because I was somewhat building a portfolio for myself through my art page, the Clum Collective, where I brainstorm ideas, I throw out different conceptual pieces, ideas that haven't fully materialized and realized, but I just create them so that maybe later in life I can improve them. So part of this creation was an idea I've been sitting on during my time at university, which was Marty, because I nearly said grade 8. In first year, I knew I wanted to somewhat try running for SRC. I just didn't know how it was going to arrange and assemble for me. So when I found my way in SRC, I was like, okay, I was saving the idea for if I was elected, but then I wasn't elected and I was like, you know what, just drop the idea. So I created the idea, I released it on the, I posted it on the Clum page as a way to, one, express the vision I somewhat had and I feel collectively during my time at Stellenbosch, the direction everything was going. And yeah, that was the beginning of, I would say, me getting cancelled. And then I just moved on. I focused on trying to build Clum and build the Clum Collective. And I was just trying to go about my day. And it felt like my running for SRC was just haunting me. It felt like it kept coming, it kept coming. It didn't feel like I was left alone after having run for SRC. And this is something I expressed to a few friends of mine. I was like, okay, wow, like I just feel like this thing is not leaving me, man. And yeah, I just continued living my life. And yeah, I didn't make SRC. I tried building Clum. I was trying to raise funds for myself to not drop out and try pivot into a new degree, because the reality is funding is an issue that affects so many students, and just being in the position of dropping out due to funding and all that other stuff, it sucks. It sucks, it's awful, it's not nice, it's gut-wrenching. And this is just a conversation I feel like is always constantly had. The lived experience is not truly altered, changed. It feels like you need to constantly work so that you just graduate and keep it moving. And I'm someone who got tired of this narrative, so I was like, how else is there? Like, what other way can we get funding for students? So I was like, you know what? I am a student in need of funding. Let me beg on LinkedIn. Let me beg. Let me beg. And I begged. And I feel like I begged a bit too well, because people then started treating me differently, because I was open and vulnerable about the reality of funding and not being someone who affords tertiary education. So for some, that was, okay, a point of weakness, which I find weird. I find so weird, but that's just me. Another reality of the situation that I find sucks the most is the fact that I was being invalidated in my experience, and yet people were stealing my ideas. It makes no sense to me being perceived as stupid, trying to create the narrative that, oh no, you're using AI, you're letting AI think for you, and whatever narratives people have created. And the reality of the situation is, one, I have always been open about co-creating with AI when I've used AI and when I haven't. Two, there's nothing that sucks more than being invalidated about your opinion, your idea, and then someone else takes your idea and uses it to create profit and make profit for themselves. And that's the reality I found myself in. I was like, okay, that sucks. I just want funding for my degree. I don't mind thinking and helping create ideas. But being invalidated for an idea and yet people are applying and taking from your idea and just optimizing it best for how they find themselves, or for their position rather, makes zero sense to me. But that just goes on to speak about the nature of what I was going through. And yeah, the politics of intellectual property and all of that jazz. But again, it sucks when you're being invalidated and people steal your ideas and use your ideas. Anywho, along with this, I also emailed. I was trying my hardest to get funding. So I emailed people from the university, and it started getting weird because I lost the election, right? I posted on social media because in my mind, when I finished running for SRC, I was like, okay, fine, like, I understand the situation. Let me post on social media, one, as a way to bring about awareness to the situation and just the realities of running for SRC, rules that are really just roadblocks, and yeah, just being a student and trying to navigate leadership. There's always drama, right? And me posting that video on social media just acted as a catalyst to this drama. And the way the events lined up, me begging on LinkedIn and also emailing for assistance with funding, and me posting the video on social media regarding me being illegally allowed to run for SRC, it just lined up in a way that seemed as if I was trying to social engineer. The reality of the situation is, one, that was not my intention at all. But because the way the events lined up, it seemed that way, I started getting cancelled. It started slowly. And yeah, if you go onto my LinkedIn page, you will find me just expressing my opinions and sharing my perspective on life, on this experience we call life, just navigating adulthood. I feel like that's all I ever do. I yap and I share my experience about life. And yeah, so I did that on LinkedIn because, one, I was just trying to raise funds, find an investor who was going to somewhat sponsor, help me with my degree situation, because my marks weren't the best to apply for bursaries. And the position I was in, it's one, I need to clear all my student debt. Two, I need to start a new degree. It was like, in my mind, I was like, the only way this can be solved is through an investor. So I was like doubling down and trying to search for an investor. And yeah, that didn't work out because it seemed like I was social engineering and me begging for an investor on LinkedIn. The way these events lined up, I found myself being cancelled in real life in the most brutal way I will say is known to humanity. I was isolated. I was the target, and everyone, possibly everyone I could turn to, just could not help me. No one wanted to be involved with me. I even still find myself somewhat in that situation where people have somewhat isolated themselves towards me because of the situation. And yeah, on top of this, while I'm navigating my time at the university and with mind, like putting in mind the lining of these events, I also saw the Western Cape government at the uni. And then that's when it all just started to click to me that having an opinion in university and student politics is a very scary thing, especially for our lived reality in South Africa. You know, there are students who speak about systematic failure that goes on in universities in our country, in the world, but the level of response I found myself getting was way above me. And I tried to navigate the situation the only way I knew how, and that was spreading awareness and emailing the people I felt like I could. Because everywhere I turned, I was being the isolated, targeted victim. And I found myself, the way the events were lined up and the options I had were just, I had no options. I could only email and just speak to people about the reality of the situation because it sucked. It sucked being portrayed a certain way. It sucked that people created this fictitious character of me. Oh no, he's trying to change the world. Here he comes. And it's like, okay, whoa. I do not know the person you have created in your mind, but that is not me. That has never been me. I feel like I'm just a curious, inquisitive person. But the character that was created to fit the narrative of the situation just affected me in such a crazy way. I just did not know what to do anymore. And it just, the situation, the more I was trying to be in control of it, just became bigger and bigger and bigger. And I find that the lesson I was meant to be learning was the reality of not always being in control. I feel like I'm someone who's very structured, and at times that gets mistaken for control. And yeah, it sucks when you know your intentions and who you are as a person, and someone actively mischaracterizes you and misrepresents you and chooses not to see you. That is something that truly sucks. That is something that I wish people would be more mindful of. And I'm also trying to be more mindful of. I am literally only 22 right now. And the level of response I feel like I received because of that situation was a level 1 response for some character that was created that just does not exist. And it sucks. It really does suck. And I'm trying to navigate my life. I'm trying to live my life, and just being put in positions and situations where expressing yourself and trying to be your real self is portrayed a certain way, is framed a certain way, is so crazy to me. It sucks, but I don't want to call it life because this is not life, but we see it in celebrities, we see it in influencers, we see how easily narratives can be created and people's lives changed because of that. And what sucks the most for me is I'm just going to be addressing just a few people. Person 1 is arguably one of the few people I've allowed to get close to me. And the way he went about mischaracterizing who I am is just beyond me. And sexual assault and gender-based violence is something that's not, I don't find it funny. I don't find speaking about the situation online on social media as some joke. I feel like people have become so desensitized to the realities that people live in. And trying to play that as a card is something I also find really weird, because as I was getting cancelled, I was reading in between the lines of the energy and the way people were treating me. And what sucks is walking and like experiencing life with someone. Meanwhile, they have told people you have allegedly sexually assaulted them, and that's the narrative that's being created and the script that everyone is running with. And everyone but you know. You only find that out through reading in between the lines and just putting two and two together. It sucks when people frame themselves as victims. And I, for one, know I am not somewhat a victim in this situation, because I tried my hardest to control the situation and fight back and all that stuff, whatever. And the narrative that was created was, oh no, he's on a power trip. I don't know what people think of me. And not that I think of what people think of me. It's just, it's so crazy how easily a narrative can be created. And it only takes some zooming out of the picture to see how your actions align sometimes with this character that's been created. But then again, let them. It sounds cringe, it sounds corny, but literally sometimes you must just let them. Like, people choose to mischaracterize you, let them. People choose to hate on your delusion, your optimism, let them. You are only in control of yourself. And that's what I was just learning throughout this situation I found myself in. But having friends who accuse you of something that is so much bigger than you sucks. It's not even funny, because again, I have had to sit down with myself, contemplating, just realizing how crazy life can be, and just how personal people can go when they really want to go there. And for this one friend of mine at the time, because the way the events have lined up and just based on actions, it's not even about choosing me, it's actively choosing to paint someone a certain way, to fit a certain narrative, or having a personal vendetta against someone. I don't know what it is, but it's insane how someone can easily mischaracterize you. I have accidentally done that. We all do it. And I feel like the reality of the situation, for me, I've just found how scary it is. And to be accused of sexual assault is so much beyond me. What upsets me the most about this situation, and why I say it's beyond me, is because, one, I don't take these situations lightly, especially having lived experience. Two, when someone is telling you, haha, we're sending blind items about you, it really upsets me, because the one friend to my face is laughing about the situation I found myself in, is confessing that he's involved in sending blind items that are not true, mind you. Blind items that are really just confessions about who they are as a person. But because I find myself being isolated, I don't know what's going on, hearing certain narratives and thinking, no man, but that's not me. You're telling on yourself. The situation was so weird because it went down to my entire existence as a person. The situation really sucked. And what sucked the most is the few people you could turn to at your lowest point, probably in your sana, it sucks It sucks. And that's all I'm just going to say. I had left my clothes at Stellenbosch, thinking I was going back to uni, going to start all over again. And I find myself without clothes. Right now, I don't have clothes. And these are just some of the tactics I've had to become used to, which is so crazy to me. I have no clothes right now. I have to rebuild an entire wardrobe. Some of these stories, when I sit down and think about, just I can only laugh because it's like, what the hell? On top of, yeah, it's crazy, it's insane, and there's just a level of weirdness that is beyond me. I don't know what and how people could be using my clothes. It's just really weird, and it's insane what people are trying to do, or what people rather try to do to get a reaction. Yeah, it's the pits, it's weird. Person one, we've been friends all the way until my last days at Stellenbosch, and never was I ever directly, or sometimes someone will say something as a joke. Meanwhile, they're not joking. It's so insane. It's scary. It really is scary. And I, for one, know I make bad jokes sometimes. But joking, there's certain things you joke about, there's other things you don't joke about. And for person one, it sucked. Person two, who also in cahoots while I'm being cancelled by an entire town and what feels like the entire world, also somewhat jumps on this bandwagon of accusing me of sexual assault. And again, it's such a weird thing because you accuse me of that, you come to my place of work, then a few weeks later you confess so much your feelings towards me. What is this game? What is this situation? It's insane. It's so crazy because I, one, don't want to now downplay people's feelings and not hear people out. But when people are not talking directly to you, now what? What happens? You accuse someone of sexual assault, but you're chilling, you're besties with them throughout this entire situation of me getting cancelled in real life. Me getting I like just thinking about that situation. It really hurts. It really does hurt. But both these people, again, it even sucks more because you're friends, and I'm not in the space of just airing out dirty laundry on my YouTube channel or the internet. But you both know the reality of the situation. And I also could easily be as messy and start spinning and spreading my own narratives because we were all part of a friend group. But you don't see me doing that. You don't see me doing that. And again, you cannot expect yourself out of other people, but it just sucks. It sucks where people are willing to go for money, for clout, for whatever reasons they have created in their minds. And I find myself having lost a lot of relationships because of this situation, but also because of this narrative that has been created of me. It sucks when somewhat you're pedestalized and then people get up close and see you and they realize you're just like them. And then it becomes a situation where people want to humble you, people want to remind you of your situation or your life or information that they have of you that they shouldn't. It just sucks, this cancel culture we have created as a people. We have become obsessed with humbling people. We've become obsessed with canceling people, putting people in their place. And it's just something I've tried not to find myself repeating. It's very easy to fall into the hive of wanting to cancel people, humble people. But some things you just realize, or you look at it from a different perspective as time moves on. And that's genuinely just where I'm at right now. It's so easy to get cancelled. It's so easy to genuinely get cancelled. But it sucks when an entire institution of people, and that's me generalizing, but it sucks when an entire institution of people go about canceling you, ridiculing you, making you feel small. It sucks. It sucks. It's the worst. And yeah, but you must keep it pushing. Like, that's life, and somehow you must keep it pushing. The worst thing you can possibly do is somewhat have an idea in life or think you're smart, because I feel like that's my issue, or that was my situation, thinking I'm smart. And I have never once claimed to be this genius. I have never once claimed to be the smart person, but then again, it goes on to speak about being put on a pedestal. And when people create this fictitious character of you, expecting you to perform and keep this version they have created in their minds alive, when in reality, when they see what's going on, it's like, the person you have created in your mind does not actually exist. Actions have consequences, and that's a lesson I literally learned the most difficult way. But again, in the grand scheme of things, I feel like getting a whole group of people, involving governments of people, to cancel me, to ridicule me, to make me feel less than, to silence my voice, to whatever, is beyond me. It literally is beyond me. This fictitious character that's been created of me, again, is beyond me. And the only thing I can do is just exist in a way I feel like is real and natural to me. It sucks because if you're a follower of mine on my TikTok, you know how much I've been speaking about being digitally surveillanced. And yeah, it's a reality. It's something I've just become normal with, because again, this has been going on for so long. I've just become numb to it. But this is not life. This is not real. This is not okay. And it sucks. But that's the reality of the situation. And it sucks also when you find yourself in this game, and when you're someone who doesn't play games, it's like, hi, what now? Like, I don't, it sucks when you want to be left alone, or you're trying to do your own thing and somehow people try and involve you in their game of life. But that's where I'm at right now. I really just wanted to vent because, again, me not speaking, or yeah, just not fully sharing and expressing my feelings at times is something I've learned to not do. Be in your feelings, have feelings, be emotional, it's okay. But just choose who and how you go about having your emotions. For real. For real. Because it just gets really ugly really quickly. It sucks when you're trying to defend yourself and you're being framed and viewed as a villain in some people's eyes. But then again, to my little self, the lesson really is in stop people pleasing. Stop people pleasing, bending your back over backwards for people who would not think twice about you. Like, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not the way of life. It's easy to be tricked into thinking that's how you should go about living your life, but it really isn't. And yeah, people who weaponize people's insecurities, weaknesses, it speaks more about them than it does about you. And it sucks that positivity has this negative outlook and people aren't just reciprocal or don't receive positivity well. I don't know. I'm just venting right now, but to close off the video, I have learned a lot. I have learned so much in my short time being a kid, and I have never feared for my life until certain situations that have gone on in my life. I have never had to double think about what I say, how it could be received, until certain situations have occurred in my life. And yeah, it's all about learning. It's all about being intentional about the way you choose to live your life. Sometimes being chaotic and normalizing chaos is just not it. It's not it. It's not cute. It's not giving. And yeah, just continue being a better person. Like, just be a good person. Your people will find you. That's the delusional, optimistic mindset I have. And yeah, be so intentional about the people you choose in your life. Genuinely. And yeah, there's nothing else I feel like I want to speak about right now. Again, certain situations, you need to give them time and just keep it moving, keep it pushing, keep it flowing like the water. But yeah, toodles. I'll see you in my next YouTube video.